Today we're going to be discussing UFC 259, Jan Blachowicz versus Israel Adesanya. Hello.
All right.
Yeah. Now, I didn't realise that the early prelims on this card were so many. That was a real crap sentence, but I'm sticking with it. I didn't realise they were so many. Did you know there was that many? I've not seen any of the early prelims. Have you?
I haven't seen them.
Did you know there was loads?
So we're off to a good start. I haven't seen them. I didn't know there was loads, but yeah, I do know there is loads. There was 6, wasn't there? So,
Unbelievable,
yeah,
right? So many that had I noticed, it's crap that I didn't notice, but had I noticed, I would have said, let's not do this and let's watch these first. But I'm not going to do that because we haven't done that. So I'm still going to go through them quickly, see if there's anyone on it we like, but only quickly because I've not seen them. But we'll go through it and say who won and lost. So Mario Batista versus Trevin Jones was the first one, and it looks like Trevin Jones won that fight by a KO in round 2. I ain't got nothing to say about it because it wouldn't be right, would it? I ain't seen it.
Well, that's it, yeah, to just run through them.
Yeah, and the next fight was Ultim8, I've not heard of him before, versus Alon Cruz with a 2 A's for an Alon. 2 A's and an O, so he's definitely done an Alon change, Alon Cruz. And Ultim8, he won that one. He done a KO in round 1, so powers so far. The next fight, Livinha Souza versus Amanda Lemos. Glad I missed that. Although that even says a KO in round 1 by Lemos. What is going on here? Next one, Sean Brady versus Jake Matthews. Now, I wish I'd seen that because I like both of them.
Yeah, I think they're both decent, yeah.
That Brady bloke, he's the one with that big Jap thing on his back, isn't he? Like Japanese mask thing.
Oh, I can't remember off the top of my head. I know he's a muscle business kind of New York fella, right?
We discussed him before. He was on one of the other cards. I remember.
That's right, yeah. And we
thought
he looked good. Yeah, and Jake Matthews, he's sort of been around for a while, and he's sort of not an easy fight for anybody. So yeah, he's would like to have seen that fight, but it speaks for how good the actual card was, if you want to call it the actual card. You know, the main card was the fact that these guys didn't even get on the prelims.
Correct. Well, he won, Sean Brady, and it was a submission in round 3. So far, all stoppages. Here's the next one: Kennedy Nchukwu versus Carlos Ulberg. Blimey O'Reilly, Carlos Ulberg in this picture's got a bod and a half on him. And Kennedy Nchukwu won in round 2 by a KO. This is an absolute powers. Last one, brilliant. Tim Elliott versus Jordan Espinoza. Finally, because I think Tim Elliott's lost a few, hasn't he? Maybe a couple. He won this one. Oh, unanimous decision. So he let the team down here.
He did, yeah. Very
absolute bucket load of fights there.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you know, but there's...
I mean, it's likely that I do, but I mean, by all means.
Well,
see if you can enlighten me.
Well, somebody told me that Tim Elliott was doing a lot of chats to Jordan Espinoza on the floor. Hello?
Okay, so moving on to the next fight.
Well, hang on. No, but he was saying stuff like, and it's come out since that, apparently that Espinoza or something has been done for, sorry, very unprofessional. He's been done for domestic abuse or something like that. And so Tim Elliott was giving him a little bit of a, you're getting what you deserve, and what I mean,
decision.
doing a little bit of a vigilante justice on him. Now, the reason I don't really want to talk about it because I don't know anything about it, so I'm doing a bit of a Tim Elliott here myself. And as you know, we really like Tim Elliott. Preferred the old gorilla style version.
Correct.
He's still wicked. But they asked him afterwards in the post-fight press conference, what were all those chats about? And he goes, well, I got sent like this story with some pictures and all that of this woman who got beat up by, domestic abuse or whatever by Espinoza. So he goes, I couldn't tell if it was real or not because, you get fake stuff and all that, but I wanted him to know, that I knew, and I was giving him a bit of a beating for it, or whatever, like giving him his just dessert, so to speak. And I just thought to myself, and he goes, but people weren't supposed to hear those chats.
Oh, yeah, okay.
I thought to myself, what a load of nonsense. If you didn't want people to hear those chats, do them in the locker room afterwards, yeah? Or do them at the weigh-ins.
Done them on telly.
You've got plenty of time to have a chat with this guy about it. But you chose to do it when you're on a national broadcast, possibly in front of millions of people, with microphones all dangling over your head. So don't tell me that you didn't expect people to hear, or you didn't want people to hear.
No.
Because if that was the case, and I'll tell you what, you've also got the post-fight press conference where someone's asking you about it. Why not just say it was personal between me and him? No one was supposed to hear that, and leave it at that. But no, you were happy to then tell everybody what it was about.
Yeah.
So that you can't sit there and say you didn't want people to know or whatever. And what annoys me even more is he's saying he didn't even know if the stuff he got sent was genuine. So you're now talking about something that you haven't done your homework on. You don't even know it is genuine. It might be genuine, right? You're doing all this live on national TV, and you haven't even dug into the background to know whether it is real or not.
Well, maybe.
And now you're saying, I didn't want anyone to hear, but now you're talking about it at a post-fight press conference. Sorry, we're going to get into acting and all this sort of stuff, and people leading people astray with what they're saying, and what their actions actually do contradicts what they're saying later on when we get to the Aljamain Sterling Peter Yan fight. But at the end of the day, none of what he's saying there tallies up. If you don't want people to know, then don't tell people on the post-fight press conference, and don't do chats about it in the middle of a fight on a national broadcast. I'm sorry,
look what it's led to.
He's talking bollocks.
Look what it's led to. Now we're talking about it. No, but we're talking about it.
I'm sitting here talking about whether Jordan Espinosa's a domestic abuser. I don't know whether he is or not.
No idea.
But I know to talk about it.
And now we're talking about it. Imagine how many more people are going to find out about it. You can see how the listenership is so huge.
Well, this is it. I mean, this is
what he's created by purpose, as far as I'm concerned.
This will go viral. So I like Elliot and all that stuff. But none of what he said there made sense to me. Didn't make logical sense to me. If I didn't, say for example, if I didn't want you to know about something, it's just like me sitting here now going, I don't know, I've just pooed my pants, right? But I don't want anyone to know I've just pooed my pants. Don't put it on a podcast that you're going to upload to YouTube then. Stupid, it makes no sense.
No, but now you have told me that you've done it.
Yeah, but I ain't done it. It was just a what if scenario.
Yeah, but I mean, the likelihood is that even if you haven't actually done a real poo, there's still skids in there and that in there. I mean, it's just the man. It's natural.
Well, I'll check later, and I'll let you know on the next podcast. Give you something to tune into.
But there you go.
To look forward to, yeah. So anyway, that's those fights done. I ain't seen them.
No, nor have I. But maybe he's gonna. Maybe Tim Elliott is gonna have a smash up with Greg Hardy and stuff. Then, now, maybe he's gonna call him out. Yeah, maybe he did call him out. We did a post-fight interview. Didn't see it. If that's the way he rolls now. Oh, rolls. Okay, before we get into the fights that we have seen, which is the prelims upwards, I'm going to say this card was bloody brilliant. I liked it. It was good.
Oh, yeah.
Did you like it? I mean, I enjoyed this one. I remember the other one. What was the other one? Oh, yeah, Rosenstrikes and Cyril Gunn. I remember that one, not just that fight, but I remember going, by the time I got to that fight, I went, this has been bad, this. But this was the opposite. I went, this has been good. This has been enjoyable. So this was good. You liked it?
I think, look, it's always hard to follow a great card like Gunn versus Rosenstruik. You're always you got a lot to live up to. Wasn't that shocking, Matt? One of the worst fights in living memory, that was.
It's terrible. I mean, I'd like to discuss it in great detail. I'm not going to discuss it on this one because that's what we'll do, and we'll end up chatting about that and not chatting about the actual fights that we're chatting about. But yeah, it was terrible. I mean, really bad qual, that.
Yeah, I mean, I do want to quickly just say one thing about Rosenstruik. I wouldn't even do a chat about that because it don't deserve it. Don't deserve any of my time. But
it might be an interesting chat, though, because we'll just be blazing the whole thing.
It might be interesting, yeah, because we'll talk about, Gunn, is his stock up or down, even though he's won.
Yeah, I think it's a good one to chat about because we go into detail on stuff, don't we? So I think it'd be quite good.
All I will say about it, though, all I won't say about it is, Dana White always says, listen, if on one corner there was people playing baseball and on another corner people playing football and on another corner people are having a fight, everyone will go to the corner where people are having a fight.
Yeah,
and I kind of agree with that or what have you. And I think that everybody would have rushed over to the corner where Rosenstruck and Garn were, squaring up to each other, because they'd have been like, geez, there's two blokes that are as big as your house who are about to, throw down, and they look like they know what they're doing. This is going to be brutal. But after about 6, 7 or 8 minutes, I imagine that crowd would have all dispersed back to the football game, the baseball game, and any newcomers to that little area, that free corner A to Z, imaginary free corner A to Z, would have started going over to the fight. And as they passed gizzers who were doing baseball and stuff like that, the baseball gizzers would have said to them, don't bother. They're not having a fight.
Yeah.
It's
not a fight.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, exactly. It's not. It's just two blokes posturing and having a bit of a disagreement. Trust me, it's not what we went over there 10 minutes ago. Nothing happened. It's still nothing's happened. Nothing happened in that fight. It was one of the worst fights I've ever seen. It was worse than Moraes versus Melo.
No, we liked that fight.
Yeah, Moraes Melo, I was laughing my head off at, Sarah Moraes's, jabs and all that sort of stuff. So that brought some comedic element to it. This Garn Rosenstruck, honestly, done my nutting. Like you said, we won't go into detail about it.
No, because honestly, I do want to talk to you about it. Yeah, I do want to chat to you about it, and I think we should. So let's get on to the first fight, because I could chat about that fight loads, and I'd like to, but I'm not going to. I'm going to resist the urge. This first fight on the card, well, not the first fight on the card, first fight on the card that we saw on the television, on the box, was Rogerio Bontorin, or is it Rogerio Bontorin?
I think it's, you don't let me say Chorizo, so I'm not going to let you say Rogerio.
So it's Rogerio. What about...
Yeah, Rogerio, yeah.
Did you notice that I changed the last one as well? So I went, is it Rogerio Bontorin or is it Rogerio Bontorin? I changed the last one as well.
Don't do that with it in surnames, it don't seem, no?
It don't seem that way, no. So, versus Kai, Don't Blink Cara France. The other bloke didn't have a nickname. And this fight... Who?
Head plant or face plant, call himself that, couldn't they, going forward?
Nasty.
Yep, all right.
Not very nice.
Look massive at the weight, didn't he, Bontorin? Look big,
did,
he made Cara France look like a little boy in there, kind of thing, physique-wise.
It does look weird, didn't it? It was a brilliant fight, this. I really enjoyed for as long as it lasted, because it was only one round, basically the whole of the first round. I really liked it because I enjoyed all the grief that Cara France was getting off of that rear naked choke. Brilliant defense. I love the fact that he didn't give up. I do think that a lot of people crack under that constant grief of someone constantly trying to grab your neck. And he just didn't give up. And when he got up, he made it count. He went, right, I'm good on the ground. It's obvious he's good on the ground, right? Because he dealt with the problem. But when he got up, he said, yeah, I'm going to bang you out. So I got things to say about this, because they were going on nuts on the broadcast, all blah, 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 this, that and the other. And he walked off and he weren't stopped. He's like, he was stopped. The only one with his head screwed on out of DC, Rogan and Anik was John Anik. He went with respect. I think Herb Dean stopped that fight. I was like, yeah, you're all watching the video and only 1 out of 3 has noticed that Herb Dean actually stopped that fight. So,
yeah, he did stop the fight, yeah. He didn't do the classic, stupid little wave with his hands, but yeah, he stopped.
He stopped it.
The fight was clearly stopped, but I do think Cara France wasn't sure that the fight was stopped, and his corner actually pointed. There's somebody done a screenshot.
Okay.
When he's running around the perimeter of the cage.
Yeah.
And his cornermen actually point over to Bontorin. So I think it's at that point that Cara France went, it's not over. And that's when he ran over and done it. It was brilliant, wasn't it? Throwing the mouth guard at him after.
Yeah.
But, he done the, I'm going to hammer fist you, in the forehead. And Herb Dean went, no, it's over. And then obviously he ran off and Bontorin threw the gum shield as if to say, like, don't you threaten me with a, hammer fist to the forehead. So,
good fight.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it was good. I agree with everything you say. The thing that was impressive about Cara France was, like you said, a lot of people, they'd have broken under it, but even if they didn't break, what a lot of people would have done is they'd have got back to their feet and they'd have thought, right, I've lost that round. Chalk that one down to bad experience and sort of just seen it out because it was only like about 10, 20 seconds left. He didn't. He went, you've given me loads of grief on that ground. Now I'm back on my feet. I'm going to make you pay for it. And he did make him pay for it ultimately, knocked him out. A nice little combination. I think he threw in a cheeky little uppercut there, which is always nice to see.
Yeah.
And, the guy, like I say, sort of, went down like a chopped tree. And
good stoppage then? Good stoppage? Right.
Yeah, when you go down like that, you leave the ref no choice when you go down like that.
Yeah.
He went down like a set square. A set square is like a perfect 90-degree right angle. His body crushed into a perfect 90-degree right angle, and he just made like a triangle with his body and landed on the floor. Yeah. Of course, it was a good stoppage. No controversy, nothing dodgy.
Here.
And I'm fed up with muscly Brazilians who are supposed to be amazing, well, not just Brazilians, but muscly people who are supposed to be amazing at jiu-jitsu, who have about 1 or 2 shots and about 4 submission attempts in them before they're literally gassed out, weak as a kitten, and ready to be put in a casket. Can they just sort that out, please?
There was a good bloke. I think he's a Brazilian Jits bloke, and I thought he was good. Moises or something. He comes later. I liked him.
I know you don't. He was on the Cyril Gane card.
He's good.
He was all right when he against Hernandez.
Yeah, that was good. Okay, I've made a mistake. Forget that I've mentioned it, but I like him. I only brought it up because you said about muscly Brazilians. I thought he was a good muscly Brazilian that was supposed to be jiu-jitsu, that done a good all-round fight, mostly striking. But yeah, Cara France.
He's made some good improvements, he has. Cause,
he was good.
Because he's beaten Michael Johnson, but he was good in that because he was getting lit up on the feet. Because everyone gets beaten up by Michael Johnson until he decides to, throw the fight away. And he done a submission on him, didn't he, in the 3rd round? And he's made quite a lot of improvements since then. Because against Johnson, he actually looked like one of those Rodolfo Vieiras, just somebody who's won loads of submission grappling tournaments but don't know how to punch his way out of a wet paper bag. But now he actually looks like someone who's decent at everything.
Yeah, he looked good.
So, yeah.
And quick improvement, like you say. Good one, that. So any more on Cara France?
No. I even liked his chat at the end, actually, when he said, he kind of done himself down a bit. Then he goes, my nickname's Don't Blink. And he goes, but I never knocked anyone out in the UFC. He goes, it's the first time I've done someone. So I thought that was quite good that, he could laugh at himself and sort of...
Yeah, shows character. But the truth is, the Don't Blink don't have to be knockouts. That's the Sam Stout hands of stone. That's when you think like that. But not with Don't Blink, because look at his last fight. I mean, that was amazing as well. It was another Don't Blink fight. This was a Don't Blink fight. Brilliant.
Yeah, you could take it as in don't blink, as in, it's
exciting.
Just exciting. Yeah, I'm a Leonard Garcia kind of bloke, but
don't know what's going to happen next. Didn't know what was going to happen. 4 minutes 55, he knocked the bloke out after being, having hands around him. Yeah, excellent. Yeah. I mean, really good. What do you call it? Composure and stuff. To have someone constantly with the body lock round you and constantly trying to choke you, just not giving in to it and just going, no, I've got to try my best to get out. I mean, it's brilliant. I really thought he was good.
Yeah, he was good, yeah.
Is the other bloke any good? I know he got done. Just because he got done in round 1 don't mean he's crap.
No, it doesn't. I think he's...
Have you seen him before? Don't recognise him.
No, he's had a few fights, but, it's hard to recall every single fight that's ever been that you've ever watched. But, I thought he looked strong. He obviously knows how to, even though he didn't prove it in this fight, he obviously knows how to throttle gizzers and stuff like that. But like I say, just when he got up, he didn't look as bad as Rodolfo Ventilator Vieira, but he did look very, very shattered. He did, and I can't get my head around that. We'll just leave it there. I can't get my head around how you can't. After a round, you're basically just blowing out your backside. I don't get it.
Especially when it's your thing. It's your
job. Imagine if you had a carpenter come round, right, to do, put up some shelves for you. And after hammering in 4 nails, he went, oof, I need to go and have a sit down. I'm shattered. You'd be like, what the hell are you talking about, bruv? I've paid you to hammer in nails the whole day. You can't go now and have a 10-minute rest to get some breath.
But my shoulders are burning where I'm holding this up. It's like, well, that's what you do, isn't it, every day?
Exactly. You're supposed to be conditioned to it, aren't you?
Yeah.
So why ain't he? So I don't get it. It gets me
But it
nerves.
may be because he's just started like O'Malley. He's not conditioned yet. The bod can't handle
Maybe.
it. How many shells has he hung? You might have got someone who's new to the game.
Maybe, yeah.
And that's why he was cheap. It's your own fault. Get what you pay for.
No, I ain't got anyone to do shells. I'm going to hang a shelf up myself.
All right. Next fight. Joseph Benavidez versus Askar Askarov. Benavidez, no nickname. I don't remember him having a nickname. He didn't come up with a nickname. Buffer never said a nickname. Askarov's got, that's an all right one. Bullet.
Yeah, I quite like Bullet.
It's plain and simple, and it is what it is, isn't it? Benavidez, he ain't got a nickname. Should he have one?
Coffee. Doesn't he like coffee?
Does like coffee.
I know it's a little bit literal, but doesn't he love coffee?
Loves it all.
What about the bean? Because you get coffee beans, and he's only a little gizzer like a bean, and it runs into Benavidez. Joe the Bean Benavidez.
Joe the Bean Benavidez. Yeah, maybe we can see why he ain't got a name.
Well, yeah.
No, before we go about the fight, when he came out and was getting announced, Joseph Benavidez, he put his arm up like this. Only you can see this, right? Like this, like, yeah, right?
Yeah.
And I know I've got black gear under my arm, but they're called hairs, right? He had a load of black stuff under his arm, probably the dirt from the T-shirt or something like that. But, I mean, it was really noticeable, just a load of black grit. I think he shaves his armpits. Most of them do. I don't think I've ever seen hairy armpits in there, have you?
Forrest Griffin must have had hairy armpits.
He probably did. But they shaved him, I think, and he had a load of black dirt under there, so that was crap. But what did you think of this fight? I mean, we bored of Benavidez now. That's it. Joseph bored of Benavidez. Are we?
No, I actually, he's a little bit of a guy that I'm warming to a little bit the more he gets done. Like when he got beaten up about 8 times in one fight against Figueiredo. He lost that fight about 7 times, didn't he? Yeah. He lost by every known conceivable way to lose in one fight. He got done by a cut, he got done by a doctor's stoppage, got submitted, got knocked out. He got everything in one fight. And but one thing I think about him is, look, he was mashing gizzards at the top for ages. Like loads of times there'd be young guns coming through, and they'd come up against Benavidez, and he'd do them. And you'd be like, oh, flip off, can you stop doing these guys? Because you can't keep fighting Demetrius Johnson or whoever, you know what I mean? We can only see that so many times. So you have to rate a guy who's been up that high all through WEC, and he was for ages in UFC, like mashing all these young guns and all that. But he just seems like now, and the reason why I rate him is because I do think he's a tough guy and a tough fight for anybody. And he's definitely real at fighting, but I mean, I hate his guard. He tucks his elbows in so much. When they teach you how to hold your guard, they always say tuck your elbows in. Tuck your elbows in, based on them flared out. But, I mean, he really tucks his elbows in. I mean, they're almost like. I
was going to mention it. To me, he does it.
It just means that he can't get his glove up actually where it should be. It should be more relaxed, more. That's what he seems like. He's quite a T-Rex arms kind of guy anyway, right? Quite short reach. And he makes it even shorter by throwing looping shots and being quite tense with it all. So,
but has he always been like that? Because this
he has, I think.
I really noticed this stance like this. I really noticed it. I've never noticed it before that he's.
No, I've always seen it. Yeah, it's always been like that.
I'm sure we've spoken about him on here, and it never came up.
It's never been. It was really pronounced this time.
I think it was more.
I think it was a bit more. But he's always had that kind of guard where it's always been quite low below his chins. Like sometimes you'll have it up around your chin, sort of around your lip sort of area. He's always had it down here like this. And that's because he's got it tucked in. He's almost got it tucked into the top of his shorts.
I thought it was weird. I thought he looked weird. It looked like it stopped him punching. It
does, yeah. It does, yeah.
It just didn't look right. So that's why I'm thinking maybe it was a bit more prominent this time, because I've never really picked up on it before. You said you picked up on it before. He closes down his ribs, which, like you say, is not really necessarily a bad thing to keep your... Well, no, maybe it's bad how he did it, but what I'm saying is it's still a good thing to be taught at the start not to do have your elbows flared out like that and to have them down here. Not exactly how he did it, glued to his ribs. But
That's the thing,
I think
yeah,
it was more prominent. I don't know why. It seemed to be from the very beginning, so it wasn't like he was trying to block body kicks or he got a bad one and thought, I've got to block them from now on, because he didn't block any of the body kicks that he took anyway, because they came straight up the mid, most of them. So I do think he ain't that good anymore. I don't think he's improved or anything like that. I think he's got worse over time, which is sort of understandable. I don't think he's old, but he's had a lot of fights. I don't want to get rid of him though, because I do enjoy watching him fight. Although he's getting outclassed a lot now, isn't he? He's getting done a lot. He ain't getting smashed out. He has been smashed out. Obviously, he's been smashed out. I really liked him particularly. Apart from this version, the elbows down, I liked him in this fight. The reason I liked him in this fight and I enjoyed it is because he's been banged out a fair few recently and he still ain't scared. He still came in, really charging in, ready for a smash. But the problem with him is, and what I really notice is I think his boxing is crap. I think it's terrible. I think it's really bad qual. And that's the problem. He's got the mental attitude, and I rate him, by the way, for having that mental attitude, considering the fights he's been in, that he's still coming in, and I'm going to smash your face in. But the skill doesn't match up with that attitude. It's just not very good. It's just not very good skill.
Yeah, I mean, like terrible bad qual, we're talking in relation to obviously being in the premier fighting organisation. We're not talking about like, he's boxing's terrible bad qual, was in like if you saw him down a local gym, you'd be like, yeah, that guy's all right.
Would you?
Yeah, I'd definitely say, listen, calm down with those elbows, bruv. But
but anything? Do you see any good punches or anything?
I mean he's that's what I said, and his right hand's always loopy, but he's always thrown that looping overhand, right? He was running in. There was times where he's actually literally running in with his left hand just straight out, not a jab, just running into the guy with his hand straight out. In an attempt to close the distance. And I was like, blimey, that is not how you close distance. You close distance with, inching in with your footwork or, behind jabs or whatever, or cutting off the cage or, that's how you sort of close distance intelligently, not just running into someone. And I think midway through the first round, I thought he's going to get knocked out with sort of like some sort of counter hook here or something like, rushing in, he's going to get knocked out. Everything you just said, I agree with. That's what I kind of meant by I like him. And I like him more now than I probably did a few years ago, because I think he's a real fighting bloke. Like you say, he's got a wicked attitude.
I like the no give up, keep coming back. I love that.
Yeah, he will keep having a smash. He was wicked back in the day, but he just seems like a guy, like you just said there, who hasn't enhanced his skill set, hasn't developed it. And you're getting a lot of these guys now who are coming through who are a little bit more competent in all facets of the game. It's like adding the fact that he hasn't evolved with the fact that he's got a bit older, a bit slower, probably, carrying a little less power, all that kind of stuff. And you just go, he's sort of coming down while all these other guys are going up. And like you say, there seems to be a difference now. And you look at it and you go, I don't think there's anyone who'd do it in the top 10. That's how you kind of feel about it now. Whereas only, not even that long ago, so only 3 years ago, you'd go, he's a dangerous fight for anybody. He's there or thereabouts. But now, you look at that top 10, you go, I don't think he'd do anyone here. He's sort of approaching dangerous Rashad Evans territory, where I'd like him to go out on a nice win, but unless they serve him up a real dolly, which they tried to with Rashad Evans a couple of times, then they tried to give him a real couple of gimmick fights, and he still effed it up. I get the feeling that
he got done by someone.
I get the feeling as well that Benavidez probably just wants to go out and win. I don't think that he thinks, oh no, I'm still going for the belt. I don't think so anyway. Too many losses.
They're better. Fighters with that attitude of, not worrying about the belt. We seem to warm to them more. We prefer them more, that they're just going in to have a fight. If they end up with the belt, then they end up with the belt. But he's just going in to have a fight. It's because he likes fighting. That's what it seems like. So that's why I enjoy watching him. It's just that what is not very nice to watch is that I don't see, apart from the scrambling, grappling, that kind of thing, I don't see competent skill. I don't see competent skill. It's nasty, competent. I don't want. This is crap, right? Because he smashed my face in. I just don't like the box. That's why I picked boxing specifically, because he had no good offensive boxing that I could see, and the defensive boxing was crap as well. It's terrible. It wasn't good. I was watching it going, this ain't good. You're not doing anything good. So, sorry. And he got done. Unanimous decision. And he did get smashed in as well. Is that other bloke... I was talking about, he's saying he's partially deaf and that, Askarov.
Oh, my word. Listen, that I was saying to the screen at the time, I was like, God, aren't they talking absolute balls here? You know,
what, heightening the senses and all that.
Yeah,
They
it's so
say,
stupid. Like, yeah, it's because I'm deaf. I can walk on water or I can fly. It's like no, it doesn't heighten the senses. It might make you more reliant on them, more perceptive with stuff or what have you, because you have to rely on them more. But it doesn't also make your hearing 10% better.
well, don't
your
it?
vision 10% better than
Maybe
a
it
person
does.
who has hearing.
Maybe it does because he's used more. No, he
don't. No way.
Rely.
I mean, no, they were saying all this stuff, and I was, they're going, oh well, all the fact that you can't hear, it heightens your senses. I said, yeah, were you saying this for Matt Hamill? No.
Well, he done John Jones.
He done
John Jones.
I know he beat John Jones.
Right.
He knocked him out with his forehead. But he, if that was the case, why isn't the UFC littered with deaf champions, or why aren't the rankings populated with deaf people left, right, and centre? It's stupid.
No, I think
he might not have held him back, or he might have use it in a way that it doesn't hold him back. But to me, I was thinking, if I can hear, right, I can also hear how my opponent's breathing, so I can hear if they're perhaps struggling, for gasping for breath during grappling exchanges. I can hear advice from my corner. I can, there's other things I can utilise that give me an advantage. Being deaf, I don't see what advantage that gives me. And they kept on trying to talk about it like, oh, well, he's got supervision, you get X-ray vision and stuff like that. It's like, he ain't. He's just got eyes like I've got eyes. He just can't hear. It was such crap. I've never heard anything like it.
Wait, no, obviously it'd be better for him if he had his hearing, the full hearing.
Well, that's the end of it then.
No, it's not, because he ain't. And that wasn't a choice, right? So now he's having to rely on other things. You don't have to rely on other things. You have a combination of things and go, oh, I heard that. Oh, I didn't hear that, but I saw it out the corner of my eye. He's having to rely on these things a bit more, so it makes him extra special. And what about this, right? That weren't the only thing they said that gave him extra powers, right? It was, what about the focus thing? I'm asking you, because you just said you're listening to him and they were talking crap, right? What about the focus thing? The fact that he's just focused on no trash talk, no corner chats, no crowd, nothing. He's just literally focused on the fight because he can't hear now else. So he's just concentrating on what's going on. Is that good? People do when they come out to the fight. They don't concentrate on anything. They put earphones in to go, look, I need to block everything else out.
You've convinced me. It's brilliant. It's just like Van Damme in Bloodsport when he, covered his eyes or what have you, and got salt thrown in his eyes. It heightened all his other senses and made him invincible. He done bolo. It's brilliant. It's brilliant. Yeah. So
and you've seen it for real now. That was a film. You've seen it for real.
I'll tell you what.
Benavidez with it.
We mentioned it earlier. It's the Aljo Peter Yan fight. It's a shame that Peter Yan wasn't hard of hearing for a couple of seconds during that fight. Maybe he wouldn't have adhered to that terrible advice that he got from his corner.
That's to come.
But we'll chat about that later. But
look, I enjoyed this Benavidez fight. It wasn't amazing or anything, but I thought it was good. Do we like this Askarov? Obviously amazing.
I think he's decent. He looks
good,
he looks like he's grief for people. He's going to be interesting to see. He's already had. He's had a bit of a. I'll do the classic baptism of fire. If you look at his record, in the UFC, he had his debut was against Moreno, who's obviously fighting Figueiredo in a rematch for the belt. He got a split draw with him. He beat Tim Elliott on a unanimous decision. Now, he wouldn't have beaten Tim Elliott if Tim Elliott had heard that he'd beaten up a girl or something. Then Tim Elliott would have
he wins them fights.
Yeah. He beat Pantoja, who's obviously having a really good run and done really good in the UFC. And now he's done Benavidez, who, let's be honest, he's still a good win. He's still a ranked guy. He's still a guy who's got a hell of a lot of wicked wins on his record. So he's, good record, not lost, and he's only fought absolute powers. So
when you say not lost in UFC, or has he got a clean record?
No, he's not lost full stop.
Oh, is he? Okay.
So he's not lost in UFC, obviously, but he's got 13 wins, 1 draw, and that draw was obviously against Moreno. So he's kind of proved he can hang with the big boys already. It's not like he's come in and he's beaten, let's say, an unranked guy, then a guy ranked 15th, then a guy ranked 12th. It's like, no, he's fought the guys at the top of the food chain, and he's still unbeaten. So yeah, he's a problem. He's an ooze man.
All right. Well, if you've got nothing else to say, I'll move on to the next one.
Just quickly. So Benavidez.
Yeah.
I did find it surprising, but he was ranked number 2 for that. Going into that fight, he obviously won't be ranked number 2 now.
Yeah.
I do find that a bit of a surprise. But yeah, he was ranked number 2. Where do you see him sort of now
on the chopping block?
Picture
E code.
But
out.
He's I don't know.
If he got banged out, do you reckon they would have got rid
of Benavidez? No, I don't think so. I think, but when you look at, I mean, he's lost his last 3, but 2 of them were against Figueiredo. So losing against the champ, I don't really consider them as losses. I think they're free hits when you fight the champ.
Yeah.
And so
I agree with that.
That's really his first loss. So I think next fight he should probably get another guy. If you like someone like a Kai Kara France, that'd probably be a nice little matchup. But yeah, he just looks like he's on the. What would Anik say? He's round the final bend of his career.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. But
I'll tell you another Anik.
Yeah.
He's wearing black and gold, befitting of a champion.
Oh, yeah.
He always says it. But now, thankfully, the Reebok deal's coming to an end, so he ain't going to have to listen to that crap anymore. And he always says, I don't know, let's just say GSP in the black, Michael Bisping in the white, in the grey, we'll call it white. It's not white, though, it's grey. But anyway, whatever. There are another couple of Aniks that he does every event.
Yeah, he's just improving stuff all the way through. He's improving stuff.
All right, if you think.
Look, like you say, he's on the final bend, but we like him now. I mean, we've always liked him, but I think I like him more now. I like having this version coming in going, I don't know if I'm going to win this. I'm certainly going to give it a good go, that's for sure.
Yep, shows a lot about him, his character and all that. Yeah.
He could just, call it a day and just forget it. Right. But he ain't.
It's easy to go in there or want to go in there and have smashes and all that when you're on top, right? And you're the one doing the smashing. When you're going in there getting smashed, but you still go, no, I'm still getting in there. That's when you really show what you're made of. So yeah, he's good. I like Joseph. Just can't win a fight.
That's
and
it.
Just sort out your elbows.
Well,
right.
Well, if he listens to this, which he will probably, if he doesn't, then his coach will be, then sort the elbows out. That's all he needs to do. They're just stopping him defending himself.
That's right.
Which is the complete opposite. They're supposed to be there. That's a defensive thing.
Keeping his chin out to dry, basically, because his elbows are tucked. His gut's all nice and safe, but it means his chin's. There's a few times where he gets caught with counters, and you look and you go, ooh, he took that one clean because his bloody fist buried in the top of his chest.
It also makes him very square, right? So maybe you're not going to throw body kicks because you'll get an elbow in your instep. Askarov just threw loads of front kicks up the middle.
Yeah.
Don't block any of them. Don't block any of them or any hits to the head, quite frankly, because he's got glue under his arms, Yep. He ain't got enough time. It's a weird one for an experienced professional. That's all I'm going to say. It's weird.
Mm.
Next fight, these two deserve to be on the catwalk, the pair of them. I could not believe my eyes. I was like, what the bloody hell? Pair of them, Song Yadong versus Kyler the Matrix Phillips. And I remember this Matrix Phillips bloke. We watched his previous fight some time ago, and I remember us picking him out and going, he's good, this guy.
Yep.
And, decent fight. Both very, very good. Phillips won by unanimous decision. What are you saying? There's a battle of the quals for me. They're both qual.
What, Song Yadong's qual?
I thought so. Yeah, amazing haircut and all that. Yeah, he was a wicked bod. Yeah, I thought he was really good.
He looks cool. I just don't know if he's ready for the catwalk. But yeah, Kyler Phillips looks like he's just
amazing. Yeah,
just flown in from some Vogue photo shoot.
Yeah.
I'll tell you who he looks like. Jared Leto in Panic Room.
Oh, you see the bloke in that Japanese one I watched? Is he the singer in that band as well?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. 30 Seconds to Mars or something. They've done that song called Kill or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you look at him in Panic Room, he's actually got the
cornrows.
Same hairdo. He's got the cornrows sort of hairdo. So I mean, he's literally exactly the same, except for Kyler had a beard and Leto didn't. Anyway, he looks exactly like Jared Leto. I'm telling you now, look it up. They are identical.
Okay.
And just so you know, Jared Leto is very popular with the ladies, as you'd imagine.
There you go. And Song Yadong, he's better qual than oh, for God's sake. The bloke who had a fight with Chris Lieben and got done.
Oh, Sexy Armour.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. And he's meant to be qual, and he's better qual than him.
Yeah, I never understood why he was called Sexy Armour when he didn't look very good. But anyway,
I think he was a model, weren't he? I think in Japan.
Oh, was he?
I think so. Yeah.
Got beaten up by Akiyama, wasn't it? He got beaten up by Bisping. That was the event I was there for. I was on the intro. The crowd when everyone's screaming in the camera.
Well, yeah, they was only screaming when they went past you.
Yeah, it was all the girls screaming. That's right. But Kyler Phillips is good. I think Song Yadong is good as well. He was the guy that I think in his last fight where he got that decision where everyone was like, that's a bit controversial. Did he really get that? It was a bit of people were like, I don't think he got it. And I remember scoring it for him, but most people actually scored it for his opponent. He got a cheeky little split decision go his way. But it might not have been a split decision, it might be unanimous. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Right. But yeah, I think that Kyler Phillips is really good kicks, good variety, good takedowns. He had good timing on his takedowns, and when he done them, they're really, powerful. He really slammed Yadong down. Yadong made some good adjustments, came back into the fight in the third round a bit.
He did, yeah. That's right.
Won the third round. It's one of those fights where you go, but there's a 5-rounder that Kyler Phillips may have come unstuck. But because it seemed like Yadong had not figured him out, but was just coming on strong when he was just sort of like starting to win the exchanges a bit more and threatening.
He might not have been able to do that if it was 2 more rounds, though. Might have been able to do that because it was round 3 and he knew the fight was coming to an end, so he just went all out. I don't know. Like you said, don't know. Good fight, though. Both good. More
crap commentary chats.
Go on, what was it about this time?
When Yadong was in the corner and they're like, he's getting information shouted at him from all over the place in different languages. It's just like, that's not a big deal. He's listening to the woman speaking Cantonese or whatever behind him. Because she's just saying what Faber's saying. It's not like Faber's saying, go out there and hit him with a right hand.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Shoot him for a takedown. And she's saying in the background, what's 3 times 12? They're both saying the same thing.
Exactly.
So it doesn't matter whether it's coming in 2 languages. He knows Cantonese. It's just like you talking to me, right, and me having a song in Japanese on in the background and me going, oh, no, hang on a second, it's all getting muddled up and confused. Yeah. It's like, no, the song's the one thing and you're talking to another thing. This ain't even remotely confusing. And don't forget, if he's in the gym and he don't know the English that well, he's probably had a translator there before also saying,
it's normal way for him to process information. Yeah.
And they're like, this might be confusing for him.
It's confusing for them.
In English, and he's got some woman talking Cantonese behind him. It's like, this ain't a problem.
Ain't he Korean?
Ain't a problem. Huh?
Ain't he Korean?
No, he's Chinese.
Is he?
Yeah.
Check. Don't sound Chinese, his name.
What, Song Yadong?
Hmm.
Song Yadong, Chinese, born December 2nd, 1997, is a Chinese mixed martial artist. Nationality Chinese, and his name, you'll love this, the Kung Fu Monkey.
Amazing.
He was born in the Hunan district, Harbin, Heilongjiang, China.
Wow, so it'd be Mandarin probably then. Oh, you can probably speak both though. In Cantonese, it'd be known as the Kung Fu Monkey.
That was crap.
Nah, Kung Fu.
Isn't that confusing because you've mixed
Kung
English
Fu Marlo.
That's Mandarin.
Marlo. So he probably does Marlo Kun, which is the monkey style, the monkey fist. So, but I agree. No confusion there. Unless Faber was saying, do him with the left hand, and the translator was going, doing with the right hand.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the only confusion that it
yeah.
could have been. But like you said, it's the same
If
direction.
anything, it was more confusing for Faber and the woman translating.
It's hard for them.
Because it's like, oh, you know, I can't, I forgot what did Faber just say. I missed out on that bit. Or,
That's difficult. Yeah.
But he's just listening to the woman speaking. The reason she's there is so that he listens to her. Just he's facing Faber, it doesn't mean he's listening to him. He's listening to her because she's relaying what Faber said. There is zero confusion. That's just like saying when people have those Octagon interviews with the translator at the end, it's too much for them to take in. How do they process it all? Because they're speaking to Anik, you know, but they've also got someone behind them talking.
They wait for the translator, then answer. Yeah.
It's just not even moderately confusing, but whatever. The commentary teams.
Anik was the best one on it. Them two were terrible. Yeah. Rogan, I'd say, has lost it. I think he's done.
It's funny you say that. Someone else said that to me, that he was chatting absolute junk.
Rubbish, yeah. And you know I think think he's the best, and he's not.
That's what I mean, yeah. We'll go into it later.
We will. I've got things to say about him.
The commentary I imagine will come up.
It will.
Discuss the Yan fight, and we'll also definitely come up and discuss the Adesanya fight. So
it definitely will, 100%. Now, so next fight, yeah?
Yeah, I think he's good, that Phillips. I think that Yadong's good as well.
They're both really good.
Top 15 guys, possibly in waiting.
Yeah, they're really good, the pair of them. Shame they had to meet because, you know, the clash had to happen and one of them had to get rid of the other. But it was very competitive. It was made for a good fight, and they were both, you know, really skillful. Especially the Phillips bloke, because he's smooth, you know.
He is, yeah.
Smooth. He's good. Next fight, featured prelim, Dominic the Dominator Cruz versus Casey Kenny.
Yeah.
What are you saying? I've got one thing to say. I'm not going to talk about the fight yet.
Right.
This moment, tweets the tweets come up in the bottom left, don't they?
Always from the same three blokes. It's so boring. From that John Hyo Kim or whatever from Korea. Aaron Bronetester or something, and Aaron Martin or something. It's just the same three blokes saying the same.
I know they get all the highlight for some reason, but at this moment, the tweets that kept coming up were about the new DraftKings clock.
Oh my God! Thanks for bringing that up. Who gives a sugar about a bloody clock?
Well, they even
spoke about it with Cormier, and Cormier was like, "What the hell are you guys talking about?"
Exactly.
Explained to him what they're chatting about. I was like, "Who gives a? The new clock looks immense, guys. Well done. You know, congrats or whatever." It's like, what? Congrats on a clock?
It was
like got devised hundreds of years ago. Who gives a sugar?
Yeah,
honestly,
but
rubbish.
It must have been a financial.
Yeah, of course it is. Yeah.
There's something going on, a sponsory thing there, because one of the tweets that were coming up were saying things like, it's beautiful and that the UFC is always evolving.
Oh, yeah. Can you believe that, guy?
Evolving? Oh, well, because they've got a digital clock with DraftKings coming on it. He didn't call me. Like I say, call me and went, oh, that. So that's what made him good in that one. But yeah, wasn't it terrible that keep going on about this stinking clock?
Yeah, paid stooges, man. Get bent.
Exactly.
You won't hear me
coming up.
You won't hear me butt kissing about a clock.
Congratulations. You might do if they said they'll give you 10 G's for a mention.
Yeah, 10 G's might do it. Nah, integrity.
That's the question.
The integrity's, I've worked too hard to get me integrity where it is.
Yeah, but okay, well, that's the question, right? How much? So you're on the broadcast team. Not even
a tenner. Not even 10 G's, a tenner. I'll do the DraftKings clock comment for a tenner.
Same. And that is what it stunk of. That is what it stunk of.
It did, yeah.
Because otherwise, you would not be saying that the clock is beautiful and well done and the UFC is always evolving. I couldn't believe that comment.
Listen, let's just say, the ring card girls, the cards they carry around, right, ain't exactly the same cards they carry around in UFC 1. I've never seen a tweet from someone going, always evolving, guys. Those ring cards that the ring card girls are carrying, beautiful new design or really nice and glossy. No one says anything like that.
Nope.
No one's interested. This clock, like you say, it's smacked of DraftKings. We'll get onto it because Cruz brought out that hand.
We will get onto that.
Right, yeah, and that's the same thing. DraftKings have basically said, listen, get some people tweeting about this clock so we can get a bit of extra shine. Because we had that, you know what I did like? It came up at the start, DraftKings, some rich Ponce has put a bet on of 3,000 Gs or whatever, right? That it was he's put money on something, I can't remember, it was like Askarov, I don't know, whatever, let's just say Adesanya, and also Cara France versus Bontorin to go over 2.5 rounds. And then obviously Bontorin turned into a set square in the first round, and I went, that's your bet down the pan, you mug. Flipping 3 Gs to throw on a stupid bet like that. You deserve to have that taken from you, so flip off.
Yep.
So yeah, all these people are crap, getting on my nerves.
Did he come up on the screen then as a tweet, did he?
Yeah, it came up on a, it comes up from DraftKings. Usually at the start they'll have one punter is due to win 100 Gs if, I don't know, whatever, Cyril Garn and Rosenstruck actually land a strike.
They keep doing it now, yeah.
And
one
they've
person
done it with
stands to win this.
and they done it at the start, and the first bet was Cara France Bontorin had to go over 2.5 rounds.
Yeah.
And obviously 4.5 minutes later, bang, face planted on the floor, and I was like, yep. Some guy's just tore up his betting slip and booted the cat. But yeah.
So rubbish.
Deserved 3.5 Gs to spend on betting on Cara France Bontorin going over 2.5 rounds. Stupid.
I mean, they are making a big deal of the betting thing. They've always said it, this person's a favourite, underdog come in, or they always make some chat about it. But what are these new... It didn't happen on this card, but there's these new chats I forgot to bring up to you because probably because we haven't spoke about the last couple of events yet. But is this some Gianni the Greek or something keeps coming up? With a tight face. Some bloke, I think he's called something like Gianni the Greek or something like that. Have you not seen him? He's on the desk doing chats about bets.
I've seen him on the desk. Yeah, he looks like the groom.
With like a rubber face, like a plastic face bloke.
Yeah, I've seen 2 blokes talking before.
That's it.
Yeah, they're betting blokes. They're not the specialists, other than the fact that they know about where the fight's going to go to. And
They've got the lines right on this one.
Yeah, I've seen those blokes. Yeah.
Yeah, so they seem to be embracing it.
Yeah.
There you go.
I never understand the gambling laws. I'm always confused by them because when we watch American films, they're always like running books, but it's always done. I'm going to go around and collect the money from under the bar or whatever. It's always done by the mafia or like some crooks or something like that. It's never like in England. If I walk out my house and walk down past down the local high street, I'll pass like 10 betting shops.
Yeah, that's right.
Like they're just everywhere.
They are.
If I put on the telly, it's like ching ching ching. Why don't you play roulette? Ching ching ching. Why don't you put a bet on William Hill and we'll give you your money back if you fail, madness. And all this sort of stuff. It's just everywhere, right? It's amazing that every British person is not absolutely a gambling addict.
Well, they're not going to be because it has at the bottom gamble sensibly or responsibly.
Oh yeah, that's it. Yeah. We want this to be fun, but we don't want to take the meat. Yeah, of course you do.
But if you go into the betting shops, it kind of, if you like, suits the culture because they're all red and weathered and grotty.
Even though smoking indoors is banned.
No, they're still smoking there.
Smoky and all that. Yeah, it's just disgusting in there. I was always scared of going in bookies because I always felt like at any second they could be held up at gunpoint. Because that's something in England you always have this stereotype that basically someone's going to come in with a balaclava and go hand over the money.
A double barrel,
Yeah, and I've actually got a mate who worked in a bookies, and it did get robbed something like 2 times or something in the 6 months.
Blimey,
so I think it is a regular thing.
Yeah.
But in America, I always just get the impression that it's not legal. That if you want to gamble, that's why people go Vegas because it's the only place where you can go and gamble legally.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't understand what all this DraftKings is and all that. So I'm completely ignorant of it.
Use DraftKings and you win £1 million tomorrow and all that. It's not what you're talking about. I don't know. I don't understand it either. So let's have a chat. So that's the clock out of the way. What do we think of that?
Yeah, even we've discussed it now.
What did we think about this fight?
Well,
good idea for a fight. I rate Cruz for taking it. Good one,
Brilliant.
this. I rate him for being on prelims. Did you hear him chat about the prelims?
Who?
Cruz. I heard an interview beforehand where he said, a lot of people are trying to be nice to me, saying, "What? This is crap, disrespectful, you being on the prelims, it's out of order, you're a qual, you're a champ, this, that, and the other." And he's gone, "You don't need to stick up for me, guys. I get the same price for being on the prelims as I do if I was on the main card. Don't worry. I'm all good with it. Don't worry about it. I've got plenty of eyes on me. It's all good." So, again, good attitude from him,
As annoying as I find him sometimes, talking about toe placement and, the way, what side someone's put the part in on their hair, just
Yeah,
affecting
put it that way because he
performances.
likes to lean that way.
Yeah, exactly. It's just, even though that stuff gets on my nerves, he has shown, and sometimes I've seen him, and he comes across a bit petulant, if you like, or
Definitely.
I don't know. He's a winner. I'll give you that. He's that kind of a bloke. But there are times where I've heard him do chats and I've gone, this guy's wicked. He's got a wicked attitude. He had a wicked attitude after he finally lost his belt. I just think he's got a good attitude about a lot of stuff as well. And he's right about it. What difference does it make whether it's on the prelims? I thought it was wicked of him to give Dillashaw a rematch anyway after the whole roids thing.
Definitely.
Yeah, but to give Dillashaw a rematch on the prelims.
Oh, I was going to say, has he actually had a rematch with Dillashaw? But then I thought, I'm really non-real at this stuff, so he must have had. So I let it go. But then I've got the shot of him down in the right-hand corner, and I'm like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, Casey
Red
Kenny
version of Dillashaw, yeah.
It's Dillashaw.
Yeah.
It's the same bloke as far as I'm concerned.
Oh, brilliant. Yeah.
He doesn't just look like him. As far as I'm concerned, they're brothers. Dillashaw's just sort of slightly better qual in every aspect.
He looks a bit like a redneck version, Casey Kenny, doesn't he?
He does, yeah. He looks, like they were separated at birth. Dillashaw went to somebody with a marble floor in Beverly Hills, and Kenny got sent off to somebody in a trailer in Arkansas.
That's it.
That kind of thing. But I think Kenny's good. But I think it was after maybe round 1, or it might have been after round 2. I think Kenny maybe nicked round 2. That when Cruz went back to his corner, I thought he looked really fatigued. And I thought, I think he's going to get done here, Cruz.
Yeah.
I think he's going to lose. And he probably, round 3 was probably arguably his best round. Kenny looked absolutely shattered by
He
then.
did, yeah. He did.
And so Cruz done a good job. It was a typical Cruz performance, if you like, elusive, unconventional, all those kind of things. I don't think if you don't throw punches in bunches and if you don't throw them quick, you're not going to beat Cruz because he is evasive. But like we said before, it's easy or easier to evade one shot. But if you've got shots 2, 3, and 4 following up afterwards, it's a lot more difficult. And I think Kenny doesn't really have the hand speed or the combinations to, like with Garbrandt, he's got hand speed and he's got smooth, combinations. Yeah. So, he was going pop, 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 when he was throwing his combinations and he was catching Cruz with, even if it was the last shot or something.
Yeah.
And Kenny was a bit more single shot and stuff like that. And that's why I think he come unstuck.
Yeah, he's a grit fighter, isn't he? I mean, this is what Cruz needs to realise is that he analyses everyone. Well, we'll analyse you. And the problem I've got with his fighting style is exactly what you said, is when he does these evasive moves and punches from weird angles and stuff, which can be successful, as we've seen, come with what they call them shovel uppercuts and all that, or coming and up and under and all that. Some of these things are good, but at the end of them, he's wide open at the end of some of these moves he does. These so-called evasive things that he does, they leave him wide open. Yeah. And you're exactly right. That's the way to counter it. I didn't even think of it, but you're right. That's the way to counter it. Bish, bash, bosh. Smash an head kick in there. He'll go down into a foot at some point. I'm telling you.
Yeah, because he does rely on a lot of sort of upper body movement and this, that, and the other. And he's very good. He's very, very good. And I do think they're right. He's difficult to prepare for. He has got a unique style. I really like Cruz because I do think he's one of those few guys that has got a very unique style that is noticeable, that is his. When I see people like Dillashaw doing all the stuff they do, I do honestly, when I see them doing it, the little shuffle of the feet, I go, that's Cruz, that. What I see there, when I see them do that, I go, that's Dominic Cruz. And so that means something. He has really created his own significant style. Whether it's my favourite style, I think it's the best, is another matter. But I rate him for that, and I do think he's good. He's one of those guys that I've never seen out of breath like I saw him in this fight, and that to me was a little bit of a worry. He's not on the Benavidez final turn, but it was a little bit. Have you ever seen him out of breath that much before?
No. But saying that, they have said before, I remember an interview, this is from ages ago, They have said before about him, he looks all fatigued when he's fighting because he takes massive breaths, like he does things like that during the fight.
Mm.
And I think they brought it up once. This is a long time ago. They brought it up and said, look, you're out of breath and this, that, and the other. And his answer to it was good. He said, well, when have you ever seen me out of breath and fatigued? Those deep breaths I'm taking, how do you know they're not, they're not by purpose? How do you know they're not part of my thing? He said, because you would see me taking these big things, big gasps of breath, but I'm not tired and I'm still fighting at the same rate. He said, so maybe people should be looking at that and going, what is that he does? Because obviously it works for him. Rather than going, he's taking a massive breath, it means he's out of breath. It's like, ain't out of breath. So
Yeah, I've got no problem.
Well.
I'm not talking about the breaths. I've got no problem with him taking deep breaths. I mean, it's what you should do when the round ends. You should inhale as much oxygen as you can.
It just takes time to breathe. That's all.
But I'm talking about his punches look laboured. His face was obviously a bit beaten up, which is rare because he is obviously very elusive. And you combine that with, I don't know, everything. He just looked a bit more fatigued. He's one of those guys that I very rarely, if ever, have seen him fatigued in the octagon. And that fight, I was like, he looks tired and fatigued.
Yeah, if it was a title fight or a main event, he might have been.
It might come unstuck a bit. And that was a little bit of a worry. But I think he's a little bit, with his call out at the end, I'm not sure that he is bothered about belts and titles anymore. I mean, his record still amazing, isn't it? 23-3, even though he's fought all those wicked powers blokes. I mean, he's good, isn't he, Cruz? But I think maybe he's sort of like he recognises what stage of his career he's at, and he's okay with it, which is maybe why he was okay with the prelims thing. But
you've got to be active. You've got to be in there. You've got to be fighting. You've got to be taking gizzards out. You ain't taking no one out when you're sitting behind a desk. Sorry. Yeah. He knows it though, right? Like you say, he's good because he's a realist with his attitude. So you do know that I don't know the word to disrequested.
Okay, yeah, it's definitely not a word, but we'll go with it.
Unrequested.
No, I still don't think that's a word, but we'll go with it. I know what you mean.
Keith Peterson.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
he said I'm definitely not having him. Yeah, he's banned. Yeah. So he made sure of it this time. I'm not having no beers and fags in there again. So he took that. That was obviously a serious thing that he said before. He obviously believed it, that it was partly to do with a crap ref.
Yeah, I mean, I can't remember what fight it was. It was the
done by Cejudo, didn't he?
Cejudo fight, wasn't it?
About 1 second flat or something.
Yeah, I mean, I'd have to watch it back again, but I don't remember at the time having too big a deal with it. But,
I do agree that he was trying to get back up and he wasn't allowed to get back up because in getting back up, it got stopped as he was trying to get back up. So I do think he had a point, but you're never going to know unless the fight was left to go on and he's sparked out or not. Don't know.
Well, that's it. It's one of those difficult things that you often see people get caught in that kind of what do I do scenario where if you don't move and try and do what Cruz did and get back to your feet, you get stopped because that you're not offering any intelligent defense or turtling up or whatever. Yeah. And if you so if you go, okay, so I'll try and get back to my feet. You eat a couple of punches that look bad because they knock your head back. And so the ref steps in. It's like, well, I had to eat a couple because if I just sat there covering my face, you'd have stopped it. The glove punches. So I've tried to do something to get back to my feet. I'm not out cold. I've just taken a couple of... If I just took those 2 punches standing in a standing exchange, you wouldn't step in and stop the fight. So why are you stopping it now? So I get that it's a bit of a catch-22 situation.
100%.
But, yeah, if you're doing beers and fags, it compromises your ability to make these decisions. Sorry, Keith.
Apparently
you're out.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It was all right, that fight. I thought Cruz was... I thought he was good. Wasn't amazing or anything, but, I thought he was good. Made him still look, very relevant. So, yeah. Did what he needed to do, right? Won by... Well, it's a split decision, that. So he almost got done.
Was it?
Yeah.
Well, someone thought Kenny won that fight.
Yeah. Well, one way or the other. I don't know. I'm not real at the maths, but it's definitely a split decision.
Yeah, I mean, it was competitive, but I sort of had Cruz, definitely the winner. But yeah, fair enough.
What were we saying about the after-fight chats?
I thought they were quite intriguing. I mean, obviously, straight away I was like, "Who the hell's Hans Molenkamp?" You know, I've looked into it since, and and he's just like basically some sort of, I guess, like does marketing for Monster Energy, and he's sounds a little bit like you know, he's trying to act like he's basically part of the UFC or some, you know, sort of big shot with the UFC, and if you don't kiss his ass, you don't get the money. And Cruz is like, well, I'll kick your ass instead then. I think that's what it is. But
I think they were crap chats because they ended up being a little bit awkward because I didn't know what he was talking about. So, what are you on about?
Yeah, exactly.
It's a weird time. It's not a weird time to do the chats you want. It's the perfect time that you've got the floor. The floor is yours. What do you want to say? But it was weird because I was like, he's just used that time. I have no idea what he's talking about. But I think to myself, well, maybe everyone else knows. But even Rogan alluded to, yeah, well, that was didn't know it was going to turn into political or something. He said, didn't he? And
yeah, that's the thing. When it finished, I was like, well, who's Hans Molenkamp? I was like, is he a Democrat senator or is he a Republican senator or something? That's what I thought he was going to be. And then I checked it and I was like, he works for Monster Energy. I was like, what the hell's he got to do with anything? So,
yeah, it was.
Yeah, I mean, it's
weird,
just
weird for Rogan to call him out on it, if you know, or say something negative about his chats on telly as well.
Yeah, but I also think that you know, the fight finished late, didn't it? Because I know it slipped over into my main card recording. So I wonder how much of it was Rogan was just trying to basically get rid of him because they'd overrun and they need to get on with the.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, but he didn't have to say that. He could have just said, nice one, see you later. He'd finished the chats, but it made Cruz respond to him and go, no, it's not political, Joe, or whatever. If you could hear, their chats were sort of bleeding over a little bit. So, and Cruz is the sort of bloke afterwards. I mean, I haven't seen anything afterwards to go, listen, I didn't like that, you doing that to me. Don't do that to me. Smash your head in.
Yeah, I'll do you in a charity match.
I can imagine him saying, you know, wasn't very supportive, you know. I don't know what he thought of it, but it did seem a little bit weird for them to have a minor tiff. It's only a tiny thing, wasn't it? But yeah, it was all right.
It weren't even really a tiff, was it? But yeah, I mean,
really,
it's bizarre, and you know, look, like that Molenkamp's really going to have a fight with Cruz, £100 advantage or not, and irrespective of that, I mean, it's just never going to happen. What a charity match with, let's be honest, Hans Molenkamp. No one knows who he is. Everyone had to go on to Google to find out who he was. So who's interested in that charity match? No one.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
If Cruz said, I'll have a charity match against, I don't know, Roberto Duran, you'd go fair enough. A boxing MMA crossover. Everyone knows who Roberto Duran is or whatever. But Hans Molenkamp, what a marketing executive for bloody Monster Energy. Who cares? He might as well have a charity match against, you know, my local estate agent. Don't mean anything.
No. But I guess it's time to make it known, if you know what I mean, to highlight it, if there's going to be any. I agree, because when he said it, well, like you say, who cares? I don't know what you're talking about. But it also did say, and you said this, you know, it did say something about him where he was like, look, he didn't do the run of the mill, did he? And call out another UFC bloke, I'm going for the belt and this, that, and the other. He didn't do that. So I kind of liked it. But at the same time, I sat there and went, what's going on here? So it's kind of crap, really. But
I think he's the kind of guy now who will take fights that interest him more rather than fights that lead him back to the belt necessarily. If they do lead him back there, then great. But I think he's, you know, he'd be more interested in sort of, this is going to sound really bad, more interested in interesting matchups. I mean, yeah. All right, we'll just leave it there, I think. I think that's enough said.
That's the prelims out of the way. They're done.
Yeah.
And so far, I'd say it was a good card so far. Enjoyable. Good fights, good card on paper, but actually delivered version. It was actually good. So that's that. I'm going to leave it, and then we'll stop this one, and we'll do one for the main card.
Nice one. See you later.
So, hold on. that was a bit abrupt. Wasn't really expecting it.
All right.
So I'll see you for the main card chats.
All right, see you later.
Oh, same. All right, speak to you in a minute.